Here we go! NBA free agency. It's officially official right now. Cattles and Ramie on this Friday, getting you ready for your holiday weekend, getting you ready for all the NBA news. And here's the first big one. We talked about it, Ramie, a couple minutes ago. Mark Stein was saying that it looked like Draymond Green likely going to be a Golden State Warrior. That is true. According to Shams Charania, Draymond Green agrees to a 4-year deal worth $100 million. Here's a little bit extra, though. That deal contains a player option in year 4. So it could end up being a 3-year, $75 million deal. Player option for year 4. So Draymond Green staying with the Warriors. I don't think anybody is surprised by this.
No. This seemed to be the way that this thing was going all along, Nick, and I think it's the best move for Golden State and for Draymond Green. I think it would have been very hard for Draymond to integrate somewhere else, and I think that it would have been very hard for the Warriors to replace him. So this makes sense for all parties involved.
And, of course, with the player option, that's a great deal for Draymond because it gives him the flexibility. He gets $25 million a year for the next 3 years. He'll be, 36 years old or so when he's walking into that player option, and maybe, just maybe, if he plays well enough in the next 3 years, maybe, just maybe, you will see him opt out of that deal and end up signing like a 2-year deal worth 60 or 50 or 40, and he gets a little bit of extra money there, right? So that's a good deal for Draymond. Fascinating situation in Golden State, though. You got Chris Paul, who's 38 years old, Steph Curry, who's 35, Klay's 34, Draymond's 33, 34 years old. And Mike Dunleavy, with that trade to bring in Chris Paul, he was announcing from the mountaintops that, they were going to go all in for this. They were going to go all in for this. By the way, Ramie, if you were wondering, Alex Golden from Blue Wire Pods tweets out, and this would confirm dropping dimes 20 before he was taken off of Twitter.
Free dropping dimes.
Per source, the Pacers are signing Bruce Brown Jr. So, again, per source, Bruce Brown Jr. is going to the Indiana Pacers. It was reported earlier today that the Pacers were willing to go as high as $20 million a year to sign Brown. This is a guy that made like $6.5 million last year.
Yeah.
And he obviously had a very good run, very, very good run by all standards in the postseason. And you have Bruce Brown getting it done. Okay, we have some Kings news. So if we have do you have the breaking news ready, Simone?
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sactown Sports breaking news.
All right, this is according to Chris Haynes from Bleacher Report and TNT. Trey Lyles is returning to the Sacramento Kings. Trey Lyles has agreed to a deal with the Kings.
I like that.
No numbers just yet. When the numbers come out, we will give them to you. But Trey Lyles is returning to the Kings on a new deal. We'll wait to see the details. But Ramie, again, this not too much of a surprise. It had been reported, over the last, couple weeks that this was going to happen. James Ham is reporting that it's a 2-year deal. So James Ham says 2-year deal for Trey Lyles. And he is waiting on the final numbers. So we don't have the money yet, but it's a 2-year deal for Trey Lyles. And, when you saw Harrison Barnes come back yesterday, Ramie, we kind of felt Trey Lyles would be the next domino to come back here.
And I'm okay with this. This goes back to what we were saying, Nick, that while, yes, you want them, and I still want them to take a step forward, one thing you couldn't afford to do was take a step back. And you very well could have been sitting there holding the bag and watching free agency happen and losing Harrison Barnes and Trey Lyles in the process and not getting those big fish that a lot of Kings fans had their eyes set on because they chose to go elsewhere for money or for other reasons. So at the very least, you're keeping the cupboard stocked when you talk about the talent and the roster of this Kings team, and you hope there are still more additions. But now you pretty much got the squad back that you had last year, all the major pieces or players of it.
Big day for Chris Verlaud. Big day, big day for Chris Verlaud. He's a Trey Bay, as we know,
Yes.
so he's very excited about this.
I'm seeing a lot of Trey Bays on Twitter right
What
now.
are the implications for Sasha now, do you guys think?
Well, let's hold on that for a second. I want to first mention, Trey Lyles in his game. I've been a fan of him. I liked him when he was brought in. And I think he's a really good fit. I think he's a really good bench guy. He's a solid 8 or 9 guy on a team, right? If he's your 8th guy or 9th guy, you feel really good. I have no issue with Trey Lyles coming back. Absolutely zero issue. Now we'll see if there's anything else up the sleeve, but now the cap space starts to get taken away a little bit, right? If Lyles is going to get 7-8 million, which you think he might, now you're looking at 26 million of that 35 million that you had.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're working with about 9 million.
And we still might have a Domas extension in the offseason.
Yes, a couple of other notes here. Drew Eubanks. I know some people in the YouTube chat wanted Eubanks for the Kings. He is going to the Suns, which you can imagine is why Jock Landale, his qualifying offer was pulled. I don't think it's a coincidence. Eubanks goes to Phoenix, so that's why they do that. Kobe White, Ramie, is going to run it back with your Chicago Bulls.
Oh, thank God.
Kobe White is getting a 3-year, $33 million deal.
I was really worried the Bulls were going to lose Kobe White in free agency.
To stay. And here's some big news right now. This is from Adrian Wojnarowski. The Kyle Kuzma decision has been made, Ramie.
Oh.
Kyle Kuzma is going to return to the Wizards. On a 4-year, $102 million contract. So he's going to make just a little bit more than $25 million a year to be a Washington Wizard.
Okay, Kuzma at 25 or Harrison at 18? Now that we know what it would have cost.
Harrison at 18. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't want anything to do. As I've said, I want nothing to do when you get to 25 million plus with Kyle Kuzma. No, the most I would have gone for Kyle Kuzma was probably the same deal.
Shams reporting Taurean Prince is finalizing a deal with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes, so Taurean Prince is going to the Lakers. That's because they were eyeing Bruce Brown. I would imagine that's probably for the vet minimum, but we'll see. I mean, that's a good pickup for the Lakers to get some length, to get some 3-point shooting, to get some help on the wing. So that's some really good news for the Lakers. It's not as big of a move as they wanted, according to some reports that we've read. Again, they were looking at, Brooke Lopez. They were looking at Bruce Brown. But the Taurean Prince move is a good one. Here's another name, Ramie, that we can tell people about. And I know a lot of people were also bringing up this individual for the Kings. Josh Okogie is off the market. Okogie is going back to the Suns. So Josh Okogie is going to return to the Suns. He's going nowhere. So he is going to be a Phoenix Sun. So Kuzma, 4 years, $102 million. Draymond Green, 4 years, $100 million. 4th year is a player option. Pacers, Bruce Brown signs with Indiana. Josh Okogie returns to the Suns. Drew Eubanks goes to the Suns. Kobe White staying with the Bulls, 3 years, $33 million. Trey Lyles, though, is the news here locally. Lyles is going to return here to the Kings. It's a 2-year deal. It is a 2-year deal. So we're still waiting on the money. But it's a 2-year deal for Trey Lyles. Both Ramie and I are okay with that, bringing Lyles back as a bench piece. I will say it would lead you to believe, Ramie, that the Kings are not looking to upgrade from Harrison Barnes in the starting lineup. It would seem that, especially if Sasha Vezenkov comes in, and Frankie and I were talking about this during the break, maybe Vezenkov is seen more as a 3 than a 4 by the Kings. But if you're bringing back Harrison Barnes and you're bringing back Lyles, the idea of trying to upgrade from Barnes in the starting lineup doesn't look like that's going to be the plan, at least not for now.
The closer that we got to free agency starting, Nick, and we saw the rumors start to sort of turn the way that they turned, it seems that, and not that there isn't movement, we've already seen some guys, Bruce Brown, Taurean Prince, we've seen some role players change teams here, but the major players in free agency, Draymond, Kyle Kuzma, We're going to see what happens with Kyrie Irving, but I think most reports still leaning towards him returning to Dallas. We know James Harden is on the move most likely, but it seems like the major players in free agency and the ones who had a lot of suitors rumored to be after them in free agency are all going back to where they were already playing. Kuzma staying in Washington, Draymond in Golden State. Like I said, Kyrie will probably end up staying in Dallas. The only real major player who's going to be on the move, it seems, at this point is James Harden. And they still haven't worked out a trade.
Yeah, and so when you start looking at these deals, I mean, I think you feel, as we talked about yesterday and we talked about to start the show today, that Harrison Barnes deal, it looks better. It looks better when you see some of these other deals. Draymond getting 25, Kuzma getting 25. DeAndre Jordan, by the way, he is going to return to the Nuggets. Bates Diop, 2-year deal, $5 million with the Suns. So the Suns, you can see what the Suns are doing. The Suns are loading up on bench guys ASAP. They're getting all of these deals done quickly because they know they want yeses. And if they don't get a yes, they're moving on because they don't have a ton of money to utilize. So they're targeting their guys. If they get a yes, it's boom, here we go. Let's get this done. Sign it. It's over with. That's a good deal. Okay, we got the numbers for Trey Lyles and his deal. We'll give them to you in 90 seconds.